happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June the 10th in the year 2025, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom. As we approach June 15th, Father's Day, I got some fun facts about Father's Day. Who created Father's Day? Well, believe it or not, a woman named Sonora Smart Dobb is credited with creating Father's Day. Inspired by a Mother's Day sermon, she proposed the idea of a special day to honor fathers, particularly her own father, William Jackson Smart. Dodd's efforts led to the first Father's Day service in 1910 in Spokane, Washington. An estimated 76% of Americans plans to celebrate the holiday this year, up from 75% in 2021. What are the most popular gifts that are bought on Father's Day? Cards, special outings, and clothing, including neckties. There's 70.1 million dads in the United States. The average age that men become fathers is currently 25.4. In the U.S., the average age of becoming a grandfather is 54 years old. Our G-list guest today is Jason Peevy and his daughter Emerson Peevy. Jason serves as Vice President of Outreach at the Arnold Winnie Palmer Foundation, where he plays a pivotal role in advancing the foundation's mission to support children's health and well-being through philanthropic initiatives. Now, prior to his current position, Peevy held the role of Associate Vice President for Development, Communications, and Marketing, as well as Campaign Communications at Auburn University, where I was fortunate enough to work with him. Jason also serves as Emerson's father, and we look forward to hearing that conversation today. So our show today, of course, is brought to you by the consulting firm of Best Girl Inc. So let's catch up to Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to our roundtable this morning and talk to Barbara Wallace-Edwards and Michael Walker and see what they've got for us this morning. Good morning, Barbara Wallace-Edwards and Michael Walker. How you guys doing this morning?
Good morning.
Doing well. Good morning.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so which one of you up first? Who's got what? Who's on first?
Barbara's on first.
Okay,
Barbara. First, I want to echo what you were saying, Thom, and say Happy Father's Day to you and Michael, and to all the fathers, grandfathers, godfathers, father figures, anyone who plays a pivotal role in the life of children. That's a special day, and hope you all will enjoy it and be treated well.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. I also want to mention the Steel City Jazz Festival, which was held here in Birmingham this past weekend. I want to commend Cedric Allen and his company, Empowerment Inc., for another successful event. The rain held off for all of the events. It was started on Thursday, ended on Sunday night. We had some super talented jazz and R&B artists here in our state, in our city. Anthony Hamilton and Eric Benet, Robert Glasper, Marvin Sapp, the renowned gospel artist, Norman Brown and Leela James, and many more. I mean, it was hundreds of acts, and it was phenomenal. Another phenomenal weekend. So,
where did they hold it, Barbara?
The first night was held at Legion Field on Thursday night, and then they moved to Lynn Park, which is right behind City Hall, the renowned Lynn Park in downtown Birmingham. So it was an outdoor event, but the rain, it rained a little bit, about an hour each day, and then it cooled things off. And so it wasn't hot, it wasn't too humid. It was perfect weather. And I want to thank my dear friends, I call them my family, Barbara and Thom Larkin, for inviting me to be their guest at their VIP table. So I had a wonderful time. It was a great event.
Good deal.
Yes.
So they moved it do they move it from one venue to another one? Is that what they do?
This is new. Normally it's all held in Lynn Park downtown, but this year they started out at Legion Field and they had a big line dance party. So they had a lot of local acts there, and Cupid, the entertainer who started, I think the Cupid Shuffle was one of the performers on Thursday. So they had it at Legion Field so people, I guess, could have room to spread out and dance. And that was a free event on Thursday night. You didn't have to have a ticket for that one.
Okay.
But then on the rest of the festival was held downtown, and it was a ticketed event, but it was wonderful.
Were
you joining the dance?
And sorry, what did you say, Tom?
I said, did you join in the dancing?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I love to dance. So
did you do the Cupid Shuffle?
I did the Cupid Shuffle, boots on the ground. I don't know if you all familiar with the latest craze. So yes, I did it all. It was absolutely wonderful.
But I say he's still doing the twist, man. He don't know about the latest craze.
I still know how to do the twist. I can still do the twist.
You can still do the twist.
But I can do the Cupid Shuffle also.
I hear you.
You know, line dancing is one of the best exercises you can do. Mike, you talking about going to the gym. I go to the gym as well, and I walk. But the best exercise, overall body exercise I found, is line dancing, because you move in every muscle in your body when you're doing it. So people that don't have a chance to go to the gym and just want to exercise, pull up YouTube and check out some of these line dances, and you'll get a great workout in.
Well, I'll tell you one line dance I'm not doing, and that's the wobble. I ain't backing nothing up.
It's so much fun, though, Michael.
That's all right. Y'all can have that one. I'm not doing the wobble. Especially in the song, they say, "Hey, big girl, make them bag it up. Make them bag it up." I ain't bagging up nothing, and I'm not a big girl.
All right. Michael, what you got for us?
Well, guys, you know, since our show last week, there was a big falling out between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and how Musk came on and just berated the big, beautiful bill, saying it's a domination and all kinds of stuff, and he and Trump going at it, and then they kissed and made up, all inside of a week.
They're big buddies again now.
Yeah.
I saw what Elon's daddy told him he needed to kiss and make up, that he wasn't going to win that battle, so he needed to go ahead and let his guard down and apologize. So.
Oh, really? That's what his dad told him?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes, it is.
You know, help me understand this. Now, when Elon came out and started criticizing the bill and talking about, you know, all the negative stuff in it, then all of a sudden it was leaked that Elon was on drugs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's a habitual drug user, and it made it sound like he almost was like bipolar from reading the stuff. You think
he is.
Okay. Maybe I know he has some issues going on there.
Right.
Well, how can they be leaders?
Yeah. Well,
I just don't quite get that.
Who they lead.
Yeah, who are they leading? Right. They're not leaders.
Yeah. And this is the way you behave. These are the adults. And this is the way you act.
Acting like 5-year-olds. Take my ball and go home because I'm not happy.
Yeah. And I'm going to talk about you on the way.
On the way.
I'm going to talk about you.
Until you threaten to take away some of my money, then
right.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna come back kissing your ring.
We'll do like Marco Rubio, who had a totally different take.
Yeah.
A year or so ago.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny. And now I really understand the message where they say politics make strange bedfellows.
Yep, it does.
Yes, it does.
Money makes even stranger bedfellows.
Right.
Money makes you get into bed with somebody you wouldn't have gotten into bed with.
Yeah, that could happen. Tell you something else. You know, Coco Gauff, she won the French Open over the weekend. Good for her.
So proud of her.
Yeah, I'm really happy that she's gotten there, you know. But,
Yes.
you know, I didn't know if you guys knew this. I learned this. A big disappointment is that big trophy that she won, the one that
Yeah.
she held up and took pictures and all that with. She didn't get to take it home. She
No, I
took
didn't
home
realize that.
she took home a miniature replica. The
Yes.
one that she won stays there. And she took on a little one. She went on TikTok and did a video showing the little bitty one that she
I
got.
saw that video and I was totally surprised. I just knew they got a chance to take the big one home with them, but no.
At least for a
That was
little bit,
surprising.
just to sit there and look at it and say, I did it, even if they come back and get it, you know? Or why not make a replica of the same one at the same size or something, you know?
You would think.
Is this the what's this, French Open?
French
Is that
Open,
how
yeah.
they do it then, huh? I
Right.
didn't know that.
I wonder
Yeah.
if they do that at all the major tournaments, or is this just the French Open?
I don't
'Cause
know.
that was the first time I've ever heard that before. So yeah, that was shocking to me. I just knew they got a chance to take that trophy home and put it in a big trophy case or something. And
Yeah.
no, she showed that little mini replica, and I'm thinking, really? Is that it? I know she gets a nice check that goes with it, but still, I would have wanted them
I
the
was
big
about to
trophy
say,
as
they
well.
get a check and
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
Sabalenka, whatever her name is, she was tough. I was surprised
Oh,
she beat
yes.
her. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And, you know,
But you can
Sabalenka,
tell
she
that
tried to
Coco's
make all
been
kinds of
progressing, though.
she was making all kinds of excuses about the wind, and she just had a bad day and she was so emotional and
Sometimes
everything other than giving Coco credit for her talent. And of course she came back the next day and said, she was better, she was a better player. But initially she was like, it was just me. It wasn't that she was great, it was just that I had a bad day. So she then came back the next day and sort of apologized, I guess, to say, no, that's not really the case. She's the better player today. That's what she said. At least on yesterday, she was the better player. So,
Well, she wasn't necessarily inaccurate. She did have a bad day, but that was credited to Coco Gauff.
right.
That's the reason why she had a bad day.
Right. And that's what she said. She came back and said both things can be true at the same time. She can be the better player, and I had a bad day.
Yeah.
But that wasn't her initial message.
Right. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma City played well, and I don't know that Indiana played bad.
Right.
They were just better on that night.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who's going to be better tomorrow night? Who knows?
That's so true.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine that this player did that again? Just snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat.
At the last second.
Halliburton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last
What I
second,
don't understand is it's the last shot of the game. Who's checking him?
Right.
To get on him.
He's capable of doing it, So yeah, you would think somebody really the best defensive player would have been on him, but I don't know what happened.
But I can tell you,
it's interesting, Thom. You and Barbara both bring that up. But I was listening to NBA insiders on the radio. I was driving around, and they were talking about how the coach Rick Carlisle's kind of set that up. And what they mean by that is that they took Halliburton off the ball with like maybe 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter and made him off the ball and put somebody else on ball, controlling it. And they just kept running the offense away from Halliburton, and everybody else was doing something. He was just out there as a decoy. And then they say, at that last second, they put the ball in Halliburton's hand and say, go get it. Wow. And he delivered. And they probably was a little bit confused because they had basically taken him out of the game, so to speak. And they really wasn't worried about it. So they probably was lax mentally, like, well, we don't have to worry about him because he hadn't been doing anything, And then in the last second they gave it to him, and he came through.
Yes, he did.
I think the thing about Indiana is that they just never stop playing.
Right.
That's true.
You can be up 15, 20 points on them, and they're just going to keep playing as if they were ahead. Right. And that's different for a lot of teams who are used to getting big leads, and then the other team sort of acquiesces to it. But Indiana doesn't. They don't quit. They just keep playing. They keep playing till the final buzzer. If you don't keep playing, you'll find yourself you lost the game.
That's true.
Hey, check this out. This is pretty funny. When Nick Saban was coaching at Alabama, he had Jeremy Pruitt there, and they were trying to recruit A.J. McCarron. And Thom, I know you've talked and shared some of these stories, but Nick Saban had Jeremy Pruitt doing a stakeout at A.J. McCarron's house, trying to make sure that nobody with orange colored jerseys and stuff come there to try to recruit him. And he was trying to keep Lane Kiffin away from him when Kiffin was at Tennessee. And so Pruitt had been staked out for about a week or 2 weeks there watching his house. And so then one day, A.J. McCarron said he heard a knock on his bedroom window, and it was Lane Kiffin and the whole offensive coordinating team for the Tennessee Vols at his house, knocking on his bedroom window. So he opened the door and let them in. They had a conversation, left. And when they left, McCarron called Nick Saban. No, Nick Saban called McCarron just to check in. And he said, yeah, Lane Kiffin in Tennessee just left. And Saban said, what do you mean they just left? He said, well, they just came by and talked and they're gone. So Saban hung up and called Pruitt and chewed his butt out like, how did this happen? Pruitt like, nobody's been at this house. I've been here all day. He said, I'll prove it to you. So he got out of the car, went to the door and knocked on it. And a little old lady came to the door and told him he was at the wrong house. He was 6 houses away.
Surprised Nick didn't find.
I know. Wow.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
We had some, when we did the reunion thing with the Alabama players and the Auburn players at 16th Street Baptist Church, and there were two coaches from Alabama and one coach from Auburn. And boy, they had some recruiting stories that you can't even tell on this show. I mean,
I bet they did.
They had some stories.
Well, Michael, I'm curious as how he thought he was going to keep them out of from going to the man's house. I mean, he couldn't keep them away. He could have reported it back to Saban, but you can't stop anybody from going to someone else's house.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep the ups on him, because a lot of times like that, the last in wins and stuff like that, so it's a lot of psychology there. And he just wanted to make sure that he was the last person to be in there.
I got you. He wanted to follow up if they visited. He wanted to go right behind them. Okay.
Yeah.
The last one he talks to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with kids at that point, and so they may have short memories.
Right.
Once the parents get involved. Okay. Anything else from you guys?
Thom, I just wanted to mention we lost another musical icon on yesterday. Sly Stone, Sly and the Family Stone, passed away on yesterday. So our condolences to his family and, of course, all his fans. I didn't realize he was still alive. I actually hadn't heard anything about him in years.
I didn't either, but I remember him supposedly coming to a concert at the Bowell Auditorium in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the times, but let's say if the concert was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, it was 10 o'clock and everybody was still waiting on it.
And he had not shown up. Yeah, unfortunately, he battled drug addiction, for a long time. So I don't know if that probably played a lot into him being late or not showing up for some concerts. But unfortunately, that was part of the issue with him.
How old was he?
I'm not sure, Thom. I'm trying to see if it says in this article.
I'm not sure either. Anyway, well, let's move on. We'll get Sean on here. Sean's got a minute for us, and then we'll go to our G-list guest. So, Sean, are you out there anywhere?
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute. This month is Pride Month, a time where the LGBTQIA plus community celebrates each year in the month of June to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan. The Stonewall Uprising was a tipping point for the gay liberation movement in the United States. It was originally celebrated as Gay Pride Day. In most major cities across the nation, the day soon grew to encompass a month-long series of events. Today, celebrations include pride parades, picnics, parties, workshops, and concerts. Pride Month events attract millions of participants around the world. Memorials are held during this month for those members of the community who have been lost to hate crimes or HIV and AIDS. The purpose of this month is to recognize the impact that the community and its supporters have had on history, locally, nationally, and internationally. Happy Pride Month to all of my family and friends. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Gospel.
Okay, so let's go to our G list. Yes, this morning Hollywood's got the A list, and you're on Tuesdays with Tom. We have the G list, and our G list guests today are two: Jason Peevy and his daughter Emerson Peevy. And we look forward to having him. Jason Peevy serves as the Vice President of Outreach at the Arnold Winnie Palmer Foundation, where he plays a pivotal role in advancing the foundation's mission to support children's health and well-being through philanthropic initiatives. Emerson Peevy is his daughter, and she is a up-and-coming golfer and basketball player. And so we look forward to having them on this morning and talking with them. Let's bring them on, please. Good morning.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing great. Thanks for having us on. It's good to see you, Tom. Barbara, it's good to see you as well. And Michael, we should have brought your daughter in on this as well, right?
Yeah.
She's been on, and we'll probably have to get her back on. Barbara, let's start with you. You got a question for the Peevies?
I do. Thank you all for joining us this morning. And Emerson, I'm just so excited that you're able to join us. I would love to know how you got started playing golf and how old were you when you initially started?
So when I started playing golf, it was probably like when my dad would play, I would go with him when I was 3 or so. And then when COVID hit, if you went through like our backyard, there was kind of like this driving range, and I would just hit balls for a really long time because that's kind of all we could do. Right. And then I kind of fell in love with the game, and my dad started putting me in tournaments, and I was like 7, I think. Right. And yeah, I've been playing tournaments since I was 7.
Wow, that is great.
How'd you do in those tournaments?
I did good. But I just started, so I was still kind of learning the game and how to get around a course. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Emerson, what's your favorite club to hit? Which club you have the most confidence in that you know that?
My
putter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a money club for sure.
Yeah.
Michael, you got a question?
Yes. Let me go to Jason. And Jason, tell me a little bit about the Arnold and Winnie Foundation and the wellness for children. I found that to be extremely interesting. So tell me a little bit what the foundation does to promote well-being in children.
Yeah, so the Palmer family has a long legacy, Michael, of supporting children's health. And I think Arnold Palmer was one of the first athletes really to use his platform to help others. You know, when he started playing golf in the 1950s, he came from a very humble background, I would say. He grew up in Western Pennsylvania. His father was a greenskeeper at a country club, and he wasn't allowed to play golf on the golf course. His dad would let him sneak out and hit balls in the rough, but he was absolutely not allowed to hit balls out of the fairway because he didn't want him to mess up the course. He wasn't allowed to go into the club building. He wasn't allowed to swim in the swimming pool. He had to go to the creek that ran along the side of the property. So he grew up really identifying with the caddies and the grounds crew, and just really grew up in a humble way. So he always wanted to help others, help people who were less fortunate. So when he began playing golf and began having the success that made him the American icon that he was, he always stayed grounded. He stayed the same person that he was back in those early days. And he would always seek out people who needed that helping hand. Sometimes I liken it to, he took the elevator all the way to the top, but he sent it back down for everybody else to come along with him. And so when he moved to Florida so that he could work on his game in the winters in the 70s, he took a look around. Orlando was where he settled. But, you know, there was no Disney in Orlando. Orlando was mostly orange groves at the time, and there was a small hospital there, and he wanted to see the area grow and made a commitment to children's health. And now there's a children's hospital with his name on it in Orlando. There's also a hospital for women and children in Orlando that has Winnie Palmer's name on it. So he has been a longtime supporter of children's health. The family has continued that legacy of philanthropy, but also the foundation supports character education. You know, the Palmers were known for their values and their character. And as much as sick children need our support, the world needs character right now, I think, more than maybe it ever has. So that's something we spend a lot of time and emphasis on. And Winnie Palmer was a big fan of nature. So we like to get young people off their screens and out into nature. So access to nature is something we also focus on. But also we're involved in a lot of youth golf programs and making the game more accessible, growing the game. Really, Arnold Palmer is kind of synonymous with the modern game of golf in America. So we need to continue to grow the game as Mr. Palmer did his entire life and career.
Thank you.
So Jason, let me ask you, what's it like to work with Mr. Palmer's name, to represent Arnold Palmer? What's that like for you?
Well, I mean, it's a tremendous honor, Thom. I work directly with his daughter, Amy Saunders, who now is chair of our foundation and kind of holds the role that you held with the Auburn University Foundation. And, you know, it's just tremendous to have that connection to the legacy. And Amy has some of the same superpowers that her parents had. And she works relentlessly every day to make the world a better place. And I feel very privileged to work alongside her on some of the initiatives. You know, two of the things that we do, in addition to what I just talked about, we do two big events every year. One, the foundation is the sanction holder of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, which is a PGA Tour event that's held at Bay Hill in Orlando every year. It's a signature event on the PGA Tour. And then we also hold the Arnold Palmer Cup, which is the premier amateur event. It's kind of an all-star event. So it's 48 of the best collegiate players. So all year long, they sort of earn their way onto this team. And it's a Ryder Cup style event. It was held last week at Congaree Golf Club. We alternated between an international site. We were in Ireland last year. We were at Congaree in South Carolina this year. There were actually 4 Auburn players who earned a spot on that team this year, 3 on the men's side and 1 on the women's side. And Coach Nick Kleinard was the coach of the USA team. So pretty special for me as an Auburn grad to see all that Auburn flavor on the team this year. But it is the only amateur event in golf where the men and women play together. And it creates some very interesting storylines because they play alternate shot. And, you know, Emerson was talking earlier about how she gets around the golf course. And I can tell you men and women play the course very differently. The men like to hit it as far as they can, go find it and hit it again. And the girls are more strategic about which side of the fairway they want to be on, how they want to come into the green. So to see them kind of trying to decide which ball they want to play an alternate shot can create interesting stories to watch. But I love that event. I love amateur golf. Mr. Palmer won the U.S. Amateur, so we have a strong commitment to the amateur game. But he also helped shape the professional game as well. And so we do those two big events every year, the Arnold Palmer Cup and the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
I got a question for Emerson, going back to golf. Emerson, when you're playing, do you hit off the ladies' tees or do you hit off of some of the other tees that's a little bit further away?
I hit from the ladies' tees normally, like the furthest tees forward. Because, like, I don't hit it, like, that far because I'm small. And my age group doesn't, they're not that far from the green, especially, like, if I hit from the men's tees, I wouldn't do very good.
Yeah, but as you get older, you're going to become very important in scratch golf tournaments and stuff like that, where the best ball tournaments, because if you get a girl that can play golf and get her on your team and she gets to hit from the latest tees and the best ball wins, usually if they can hit it straight, they're going to get the farthest distance out there. So you'll see you'll be playing in a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
Michael, I'll add, Emerson plays at about 5,000 yards right now as an 11-year-old. And as she ages up, she moves up about 200 or 300 yards every year. So the advances are pretty significant as they get older.
That's great. That's great.
So Thom, she's playing about a couple hundred yards longer than you and I played when we were out there. But.
Yeah, she probably can find her ball.
Yes, she can find her ball.
So Emerson, what's next for you? What do you got going next?
I have a golf tournament at Latrobe, and I have a golf camp at Wake Forest in a week or two. The Latrobe one is after Wake Forest. I think it's like a week after Wake Forest. So that's like my golf things that I have next going on.
And then what do you have in August?
I have the World Championships, the U.S. Kids World Championships.
Wow.
It's like where all like the best golfers in the world and then come to compete in like the one tournament. It's held once a year at Pinehurst. Last year it was at Southern Pines for the girls 10. I think is it number 6? I can't remember what course it is, but I think it's Pinehurst number 6 this year for girls 11.
Yeah, number 6 this year. And this is Emerson's fourth consecutive trip to the World Championships. So she's looking forward to it.
That's
Good for
great,
you.
Emerson. Congratulations.
Are you nervous when you play?
Sometimes I'm not. I don't know, like I don't know the difference when I'm not nervous and when I'm nervous. It's just some tournaments I am, some tournaments I'm not. Like last tournament I played in, I don't know why, but I was pretty nervous. But normally on the World Championships, I get really nervous. It's a 3-day event, I think.
So
What's
Emerson,
something you do on the first tee when you're a little nervous before you hit your first shot?
I jump up and down, and me and my dad do a handshake.
that's cool. That's cool.
Okay, there you go. Dad's always there to be a steady, calming influence.
Right.
Yeah.
So Emerson, what about your classmates? Are any of your classmates interested in golf? Do they play as well?
Not really. No, a lot of them just play like softball. That's what a lot of my friends play.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm the only girl in my grade that actually plays golf competitively.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be getting a scholarship pretty soon.
Oh yes, for sure.
Jason, let me ask you about fundraising and what have you, and tell me what's one of the keys to fundraising and being successful at it, other than the obvious, which is knowing people with a lot of money? Aside from that, what are the other keys to be successful in fundraising?
Well, Michael, I think, you first and foremost, you have to have a great and compelling case for support. So you have to have a cause that people are passionate about or want to get behind. And then you have to articulate what that cause is and why it matters. And usually when you do a good job of that, people are compelled to want to participate and help, whether it be with their skills and talents and other gifts or their philanthropic support. So I'm a big believer that if you have something that's meaningful to people and you can articulate it in a compelling way, that people will support. The culture that we all live in this country is based on philanthropy. I mean, it's been part of our heritage and history since this country was formed. And there are just tremendous stories of people who have shared their wealth with others and helped others. It's kind of that melting pot mentality is helping your fellow man. And I'm a big believer in the messaging side of it, which is why I worked so closely with Thom when we were at Auburn, because Thom, as you know, has a very persuasive way of telling a story. And when we did get our story together at Auburn of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to raise the $1 billion that the last campaign was successful in raising, we went to Thom, who was well positioned. He was on the foundation board. He was moving into the chair role, but he got up in front of people all over the country and told that story, and he told it in a compelling way. And I really believe we would not have had the success that we had without that sort of articulation and just getting the word out. And Thom was a master at it.
Well, I'll say this. I think a lot of times what we had a great team, and we really had a great team. And part of that greatness was the writers would write a script, and Jason would give me the script and say, "Do what you want to with it." And I got to put it in my own words. I got to tell it my way, and that was important. We did. We had a great run, man. We went all over the country and talking to Auburn people about Auburn. That it turned out great. So,
well, Jason, I know Thom is a very good orator and he can tell a story, but I know that if it came time for a compelling
must have not been getting ready to tell the truth or something.
Michael, we lost you there, Michael.
You froze in there for a second.
But we froze. What I was saying is that I know that Thom gets paid to cry on demand, and I know that if he likes to do that. So, was there ever an occasion when you were out on the trail trying to raise money that Thom had to shed some tears to get the dollars flowing?
Well, we ask a lot of Thom. And we always wanted him to be authentic, but there were a few times where I think Thom got emotional, but I don't ever think it was contrived. I think it was all genuine. And he's a good actor, but he can't fool all the people all the time. But I think Thom brought a lot of energy, brought a lot of passion. He cared about what we were doing. It was personal to him. And I think that was evident to everyone who went to the events that we did. But Thom did a lot of work in the background too. So that leading the foundation board at Auburn is not a small job. And, there was a lot that went on behind closed doors that no one will ever know. But Thom had the dual role of sort of being at the table for that, leading that conversation, and then being out front to really share that with Auburn people all over the place. And it, as he said, we had a great team because, our friend Michael O'Neill was also a part of that team, and Michael and Thom sort of ham and egged it at a lot of our events, and that was great too. And we had a great development team that was really helping with the relationship building. And that's another part of this, Michael, is you can't just go out and tell a story and expect things to happen. You have to have strong relationships built inside the organization. And Auburn had a good team of people who had been at the university for a long time. They worked in all the schools and colleges, in the athletic department, performing arts center, all the different elements of the university. And that group deserves a lot of the credit too, because they were the boots on the ground, and they were following up with all the people who attended and who heard the message that Thom delivered. But they were the ones that really kind of came in and closed those gifts and really brought in the resources that it really transformed Auburn. Auburn isn't the same place it was before that campaign started.
Very true.
The Performing Arts Center is a wonderful example of what philanthropy can do. And John and Rosemary Brown decided to make that a reality. And that has transformed the Auburn campus.
Yes,
It has.
it has.
Congratulations.
One
Both of you
story
guys.
I'll tell. I was sitting next to President Googe at one of the foundation meetings, and one of the directors got up and came over and sat a check down in front of him. Well, I was side-eyeing, and I could see what that check. And I said, well, I wonder why he gave him that $5,000. I said, man, that's, we're just getting started here or whatever. And then I realized it was $5 million. Whoa, okay.
Wow.
The side eye didn't work too good that time, did it?
One of my favorite stories from that campaign was the lead gift came from John and Rosemary Brown. John was the retired CEO of Stryker and Auburn graduate, and he and his wife Rosemary made a gift to build the Student Achievement Center in Engineering and also the Performing Arts Center. And it was a $55 million donation, transformational gift. And we were set to announce that gift at the opening of the campaign, which was held in the old Beard Eves Memorial. It was kind of the last hurrah for Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum. Mm-hmm. And so John was going to get up and announce that he and Rosemary were making this gift to the group there. And he had his notes, and he got out, and he had 55 million, and he started talking, and he said, he was talking about the gift and what they wanted to do. And he said, Rosemary and I have been married for 57 years. And we both graduated from Auburn in 1957. And Auburn won the national championship in 1957. And I think we're going to make up our donation from $55 to $57 million. And Rob Wellbaum, who I think had driven them over to the Coliseum and back to the hotel, I think John on the way home said, well, that was that ride from the hotel and back cost me $2 million. But, that kind of generosity and to even up it at the end, to tie it to something meaningful to them as a couple and their connection to Auburn. We just saw story after story like that during that campaign, which was just a wonderful, wonderful experience.
So let me ask you this. So when you go to college, and I don't know, I'm just shooting in the dark here. You don't go to college to be a fundraiser. How do you come to that realization in your life? What do you study in school and so on and so forth that says, I'd like to go out and be a top line fundraiser?
Yeah, now I think, Thom, there are programs in, nonprofits and philanthropic, professionalism, that type thing. And, Auburn has the philanthropic center, the Women's Philanthropic Center there on campus. And so, universities are paying more attention to it, but it really is relatively new for public universities because, back in the day, only the private schools were raising money. The public schools were getting all their money from the state. But as those state resources started to dry up, universities started looking around at what other nonprofits were doing and what the private schools were doing, and they figured they needed to get in on it because it was such a strong revenue stream. It's changed over my lifetime, but I think whenever I got into it, yes, you're right. No one was studying this in college. Everyone had kind of happened into it. And most people have similar stories. They wanted to either give something back. I would not have been able to go to Auburn had I not received a scholarship from David Housel to go work in the athletic department. So I always felt an obligation to pay that back to someone in some way. And working in a philanthropic setting is a great way to do that because you're connecting people with resources and passion about certain things, and you're changing lives. I mean, when you look at scholarships or you look at it isn't all about building buildings. I mean, there are ways to support people directly that is just, story after story, which is just amazing.
Emerson, you got anything else you want to tell us before we go? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think I said all. I think you guys asked me all that I wanted to say.
Okay.
I have another question for Emerson, if you don't mind. Emerson, I understand you play basketball as well as your career, your early career in golf. Which sport do you enjoy the most, and why?
That's a hard question. I like both of them a lot. But I would say I like basketball a lot because I like being with a team.
Right.
Especially when it's like only girls.
Yes.
Because like I can make more friends. I feel like that.
Right.
And I just like the team of it better. But I like the game of golf a lot. But I like the team part of basketball. And I also like the sport of basketball. So,
Barbara, as a dad, I'll jump in here just to finish Emerson's thought because she's touching on something I think that's very important. And, golf, like all individual sports, it really forces you to take a really hard look at yourself because, especially golf, because there's no officials. You call penalties on yourself. Integrity is such a big part of the game. And that's hard. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. It's just you. Like Emerson said, you don't have teammates. You can blame your caddy sometimes, but really it's kind of on you. And as a parent, I'm a big believer in what individual sports, golf, tennis, others, teach young people and how it kind of forces you to deal with some emotions at an early age that you might not get the chance to otherwise. But we're also big believers in team sports because of that dynamic that she's talking about. It's so important to be a part of a group and to learn how to be a good teammate and support your other teammates and lift people up. And, in addition to basketball, Emerson's on the Olympic Development Soccer program in Florida. So she's played a lot of soccer. She's been doing that probably before any other sport. And she's fallen in love with softball in the last year. So she's been playing baseball and softball. And I'll put in one last thing. There is a national girls baseball program in the U.S. and Emerson is going to go with the girls team from Florida to nationals in Reno this summer. And it really is cool because she loves softball, but baseball probably is her first love. And it's just cool to see that girls have an outlet now to play baseball. And she's a pitcher. She likes to pitch. So
wonderful.
Well, you remember growing up, though, you played more than one sport. You played multiple sports. I ran track. I played baseball, played basketball, played football. You did all that, and then eventually, as you got to a certain point, maybe you focused on one. Well, I think it's good to play multiple sports, especially when you're young. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Jason,
loves all of them.
I have to ask you a question here. Well, there's a question in the chat. I know that Emerson is interested in going to Wake Forest. So, Emerson, have you thought about what you're going to major in? Let me ask you that first.
I like journalism a lot. I like writing, and I'm good at it. Yeah, so probably journalism or like an engineer. Because when I was little, I would try to make different things and see if they would work, and then if I wouldn't, I would keep going. And I just thought like the process was cool. But in journalism, I love writing. I love it.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Good. Fantastic. Jason, I was going to say, how did you and I, both of us are Auburn grads, and our two daughters look to be, well, my daughter went to Wake Forest, played basketball and softball and volleyball, and now your daughter is looking to go to Wake Forest and play golf and baseball and basketball as well. So how did that happen? Two Auburn guys with two daughters going to Wake Forest.
Who knows? Emerson spent most of her early years in Auburn, and she does bleed orange and blue. So we'll see. There's a long way to go before she has to make that decision. What's attracting her to Wake Forest right now is they have an all-girls golf camp, and we got to get the Auburn folks to do an all-girls golf camp, because Auburn's got a great women's golf team and golf program. The men's team obviously just won a national championship and had another strong run, but girls want to play with girls, so I'll leave that out there if any of the Auburn folks are listening. There's a women's golf camp.
I'll make a comment about journalism, which is what I majored in, but I also bet on journalism this past weekend in the Belmont race, and journalism took off down that stretch. Man, I thought he had it, and that horse walked him down. I mean, just walked him down, buddy, and passed him. So that's my thoughts on journalism for today.
Sound like journalism got writer's cramp.
That other horse is just better, man. Well, anyway, we appreciate having you guys on. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. Thank you, Emerson. And thanks to your wife and your other daughter as well. So
we appreciate you having us on. It's always good to be with you. Good to see you all and catch up. And let's do it again sometime soon.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, my closing comment for today, or as I see it, has to do with Father's Day. It has to do with sons and fathers, but it also goes for daughters and fathers. And what does a son/daughter need most from a father? Well, there are 7 things that they need from their father. 1, the father needs to love their mother. Number 2, the child needs to see the father fail, not just succeed. The child needs to see servant leadership, and they need for you to be present. Child needs your love regardless of their choices. That's an important one. They need you to affirm them, and also needs you to discipline them in love. That's our show for today. We wish all of you out there a happy Father's Day coming up this Sunday, but we're here today, and so we wish you a happy Father's Day. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. We want to thank our guests, G-list guests, Jason and Emerson. Thanks to our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And that's it for this June 10th in the year 2025. Remember, A day without a smile is a day wasted. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.